We open the show with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant. No, we don't. We open with a theme song. That's not right. Hang on. It's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Sometimes you go over that top rope and you bang your head on the ring apron. Knock it off. That's when you feel like a big dope. They're the worst bumps you can be taking. Oh, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. One more. Sometimes you reach out for that hot tag and you go ahead and make your own comeback. Why do you do that? That's when you should quit wrestling and you're better off rolling in thumbtacks. AEW, the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Now double claps. Clap, 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 clap. The hardest part of the ring. The hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da. Whoa, yay. What is going on, Bob? Squad House, Tricks House, the kids, some weather we are having. What do you say? What do you know? Tip the veal and try the waitress. We got jokers cracking wise. Weisenheimer's on the up and up. Hooligans on the straight and narrow. Dames are flipping their lids. It is the bottom of the ninth. The bases are loaded. 2 strikes, 2 outs. It's a scorch out there, and the Brooklyn Dodgers win the series. 23 skidoo. Banap. We got the kids. They're shooting the hula hoops. So they're playing with the hula hoops. They're shooting the marbles on the sidewalk. You give them a moon pie. They give them a nickel. They see the movie picture, and they roller skate to Makeout Mountain, and then they leave in Dad's Corvette and whatever. Okay. Are you done, Bob? Are you finished wasting time? No, I'll never be finished wasting time until I have no more time to waste. What are we talking about today, Bob Squad? You know what the skinny is, Daddy. We are talking about the Hulu edition. Hulu edition, not limited enough commercial interruption. They don't limit the commercial interruptions nearly enough. They really like them. Oh, I'm going to try hard on this one, guys. Because the thing is, it's kind of a very boring, uninspired Raw. It had some great wrestling and a lot of no reason finishes. Just I don't know. So I'm going to try to make this as interesting as I can. If I can't make it interesting, I'll try to make it brief. We open the show with Hulk Hogan slamming Andre the Giant, and then the sound of John Cena's soothing voice tells us then, now, forever. And poor Bianca Belair, she comes to the ring. Alexa smiled a few times, so that's a step in the right direction. Asuka's doing what Asuka does. She's having a good time as well. And poor Bianca, she got saddled with misexposition again, and whenever they do this to Bianca, she speeds through it. She bulldozes through that part. And then the more easier, natural, responsive parts, she does better with all the time. Really is a star. Can't say that enough. Bianca Belair is a freaking star. But again, I hate when they saddle her with a full instruction manual's worth of things that she must say. But either way, yes, I'm looking at my notes. Alexa smiled. And then Bailey and Team Kai and Sky interrupt her naturally, and there's arguing, and this went on for 6 days. Somehow this leads to Bianca Belair versus Io Sky. Bianca starts the match with a drop kick. Make note of that later. And then we go right to break. What? With all that talking, Bianca does one move to one of the bad guys, in this case Io Sky. Go to commercial. Who cares? So we come back, and Bianca... I don't even write down the rest of this match. I'll have to try to go on memory. Bianca and Io wrestle around. Bianca did her stuff. They went back and forth. Bianca does get the pin here, the 1-2-3 with her finishing maneuver, as she should if she is on her way to wrestling Bailey. Does it say a lot for the tag champs? But now they have no opponent. They're basically pulling an Usos. They're the tag champs, but they have no opponents. And they've only had the thing for 2 weeks and not 14 months or whatever the Usos have. I understand that. But no challengers, just we have these belts. We carry them with us around. We hold them up high, and then we get pinned because someone's feuding with Bailey. Which is fine, but it's fine for Bailey, and it's really fine for those wrestlers as well. I'm fans of both teams, Team Kai and Sky. But if you're jumping up for joy because the women's tag belts are back, take it easy. I would take it easy there. They just don't have quite enough. women to do the thing, was my opinion, but whatever. So it was established that Bianca Belair and Bayley will be having a ladder match, and this is very AEW-ish to me because their first big one-on-one encounter. And I know they were having one-on-one encounters before Bayley got hurt, but that was like a year and a half ago. This is a whole new thing. So their first big one-on-one match is a gimmick match. I'm assuming Bayley does eventually beat Bianca, but there's going to be some kind of out for Bayley to lose. She'll get tied up in something or some type of something or other. And she'll lose and say, I didn't get pinned. Well, you just negated the whole ladder match then. So not a big fan of not doing a regular match first. But what the hell does Bob know? No one listens to Bob. But we do listen to Seth Rollins because we have no choice. But actually the people are not listening to Seth Rollins. They're waiting for their turn to go, oh, little singing Landshark impression I did there. I know it sounds nothing like him. I apologize. Seth is getting worse every week with the milking, the singing his chants, and he is screwing his baby faces left and right. In this case, he screwed Rey Mysterio, like he's been screwing Riddle. Matt Riddle. Seth's promo was fine. He did what he did, he said what he says, and he has a great match with Rey Mysterio. Just a few notes right before the match. Seth gestures towards Rey's eyeball, referring to their history from 2 years ago, where we were supposed to believe that Seth took Rey's eye out of his head because there was no people in the audience. That's what they did, and I think I started this podcast around that time, or maybe a month or two after. I want to say October 2020. Oh boy. Oh dear. Okay. Seth and Rey Mysterio, Seth Rollins, Rey Mysterio have a very good match. I'm sure there's a commercial break in the middle because it has some length to it. Seth's forehead is busted open, but not in the traditional wrestler blading your forehead way. He just had a cut shortly after catching Rey for one of Rey's head scissor things. That happens a lot to Rey opponents. Rey's different pieces of his outfits and knee braces and this, that, and the other thing tie around you because you're always... Like Seth even gave him a tilt-a-whirl... My voice is shot, I'm sorry guys. Seth even gave him a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker at one. I think that maybe that was it, I'm guessing, but it was one of those... If it wasn't that, it was a similar head scissor thing right before it, where you have to pick up Rey and kind of, as he moves around, you have to twirl him around as well with his momentum, and with you, that, and all Rey's gear is just smashing against your face. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was the head scissors or the tilt-a-whirl backbreaker right after it. That's my guess, but who the hell knows? It could be a kick. And Rey's punches are underrated because he's not known for punching, but so maybe Rey just tatered him one. I don't know, but anyway. They went bananas with the chants, and Seth stopped the match just to do it. I will actually now save that. Dominic, the son of Rey Mysterio, comes out with a chair. Does really nothing to it except drops it on the floor and dares his dad to hit him with the chair. His dad does not. Seth has distracted the referee. Rhea Ripley has jumped the barricade. She smashes Rey into the ring post. They throw Rey into the ring. Rey is hit with Seth's stomp, and then because apparently the Extreme Rules, whenever that show is, that match between Seth Rollins and Matt Riddle is now a fight pit match. The gimmick match they gave Riddle, I think, twice in NXT. They gave it to Thatcher twice in NXT, actually. Then Seth put a submission on Rey Mysterio, which according to Jimmy Smith, was the Peruvian necktie, which sounds like some kind of perverted sexual act, but be that as it may. The Peruvian necktie, and Rage is already passed out from the beatdown and the stomp. So Seth claims he got a submission win in preparation for his fight pit match. To remind you of what he's doing, and Ray's got his own thing going on with Judgment Day. There's a couple of instances in this show. This is a very Triple H thing. This started almost immediately the week Triple H took over. Little things and angles or backstage are bleeding into other issues, so everybody's issue is not an island unto itself. Everybody is part of this whole world, and it makes the show, it's subtle, but I like that stuff. It makes the show feel like there's a whole world going on and not just this 15 minutes is in a vacuum. This next 15 minutes is in another vacuum. I like that kind of stuff. Sorry, not a lot of jokes today, guys. I just want to give my thoughts on this. I'm not getting too silly with the jokes. Because it just wasn't... Yeah, the matches were good. But there was no warm and fuzzies. And no chuckles and guffaws in this one. The Alpha Academy are in a tag team match against Johnny Gargano. Johnny Gargamel is here. And Kevin Owens. And Kevin Owens is Canadian. And the tag team match was very good. I want to make a point. I'm really focused on the commentary today for some reason. During this match especially, two things. Throughout the entire thing, Graves he's always riding Byron Saxton and verbally beating him up. He gave him an extra hard time in this match, and Byron was biting back. I don't know if it was just annoyance or frustration, or are they planting seeds for something? We've heard that Graves is medically cleared. Byron, I have no idea, because Byron Saxton used to wrestle as well. Where is this going? Is this going anywhere, or is Graves just kind of being a dick and going into business a little bit for himself? Speaking of Graves doing that, in the beginning of this match, for no reason in particular, and I don't mind, because I can't stand the people he's making fun of, and they deserve it, because I don't think they're good guys, but Graves said something about you could be like those dorks in Reseda, referring to Reseda in Southern California. Meaning he's referring to the Young Bucks, the tag team in AEW that's been suspended along with Kenny Omega and CM Punk, yada yada yada. I don't care for the Young Bucks for way too many reasons, but I also don't like the idea of Graves. It's a huge punching down. They don't need the attention. They're not in WWE's league. They literally don't work there. And now you just gave them the bragging rights to say, oh, WWE is even taking shots at us. Like, don't give them that right. Don't give them that. You can just say nothing. I don't know what the issue was. Was there something goofy on Twitter? I wouldn't be surprised if the Jackson brothers, the Young Bucks, said something about WWE or its commentary or Graves specifically. I have no idea. I would not be surprised if that was the case, because these things happen a lot, especially when these things happen. Make note, they always happen with the same people. So whatever community you're in, whether it's a workplace or a wrestling online community, a toy online community, look at all the dramatic feuds and arguments and fights. If half of those fights is always from the same party, then that party is the one to blame for all this shit. Okay? If it's always A versus B, A versus C, A versus D, well, your problem is A every time. But there you go. What am I gonna say? As my good buddy and recently had his bachelor party this weekend, Jesse Egan, as he likes to say, if everyone in your life is an asshole, you're an asshole. That's you. Well, we had a great bachelor party. We went to a lazy river at a casino, and we floated around all day, myself and I think 4 other dudes with us, myself and Jesse. So it was nice to see him off, and he'll be married in a couple of Saturdays from now, October 22nd to be exact. That weekend, probably not going to get a video from me. I'm going to Jesse's wedding, but hey, we got to do these things. The toys will wait. Or who am I kidding? On Friday, I'll do a bonus thing just for the hell of it. You know me, guys. Back to the tag team match. Also noteworthy, they broke the announcer's table. Owens jumped off the barricade and did an elbow to Otis, taking them both out of the match. A lot of great back and forth wrestling. Otis and Owens did some interesting stuff. Johnny and Otis did some interesting stuff. Johnny and Chad Gable, did their thing, and I thought it was wonderful. They did a lot of. I thought the crowd responded to it more than They responded to it a hell of a lot more than I thought they would. And Johnny's looking around and being a general babyface, throwing his arms in the air, but at least he's smiling and he's looking a hell of a lot more awake than he used to in NXT. I think he's trying to adapt to the different environment a bit. So that was interesting. After a lot of back and forth, Gargano does get the Duke. He does that DDT where he jumps over the rope from the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And he scores the Duke. 1, 2, 3. Austin Theory could not be further neutered and shat upon. He tries to attack Gargano towards the finish with his briefcase. He misses and takes a super kick for his trouble, and then Gargano won the match. And there you go. And then an Irish guy is talking to AJ Styles, and he says, I'm Irish. And AJ says, you're Irish. And as AJ is walking, there's bodies just laying on the floor. I think they were supposed to represent the Miz's security, which we see later. Did they introduce Miz Force yet at this part of the show? I really don't remember. But anyway, AJ Styles is walking past a bunch of bodies. So that's worth noting. Did I write that down? Maybe that's why I'm confused. Ah, yes, I forgot to write that down. At some point, there was a backstage segment where the Miz has a bunch of indie guys in black t-shirts, and they are the Miz Force. There's a special security guard. Somehow he is the heel because this man keeps attacking him and stalking him and terrorizing his family and his home. So Miz is the heel for being mad about that. Why? I don't know. But anyway, he yells at a bunch of guys, and they charge off to go find Dexter Lumis or something. This happened earlier. Now AJ Styles is walking around. He is completely stepping over and not looking at these guys in black, rolling on the floor in agony. And the Irish guy, that's when he chimes in and he says, as I mentioned earlier, I'm Irish. And AJ goes, you're Irish and I'm Southern. None of these conversations happened. Finn Balor walked by AJ Styles, and Finn Balor goes, I'm Irish. And then the first Irish guy goes, I'm Irish. And then Finn Balor says, shut up. You can't be Irish if I'm Irish. And anyway, AJ was outnumbered by the Irish, and Finn Balor wants AJ Styles to join the Judgment Day and join Ireland. And then AJ Styles says, no, I won't join the Judgment Day, even if you are Irish, or something. I think I went too far with that. Let me know in the comments, Boba Hicks. Oh, another break. The Miz Force is down. The rest of them are lying on the floor in agony. And the Miz looks at his employees who are in pain. He is frustrated. And Dexter Lumis is in an Oilers, it's a hockey team. Is in an Oilers jersey. He's in a hockey team, and he, why is he dressed like a hockey player? I do not know the answer. He hits Miz with the hockey stick, breaks it over Miz's back, and chokes out the Miz and rubs his face all creepily. He basically murdered the Miz, and somehow Dexter Lumis is the babyface. We still don't know why. Speaking of I don't know why, Nikki A.S.H. is frustrated being a superhero, and she's wrestling Candice LeRae, the wife of Mrs. Gargano. Mrs. Gargamel is here. And this match, even though LeRae still had the purple hair, she was a mother. Right? She's in excellent condition. She looked great. She still had the poison pixie with the wings and the evil gimmick from NXT, but she was smiling and slapping hands, and I don't know what the hell was shaking hands, and it's, kissing hands and shaking babies and everything else. But in 2.5 minutes, whatever it was, she defeats Nikki A.S.H. Some maneuver off the top rope. I forget exactly what. I don't recall. Oh yes, they are both on the second turnbuckle, and Candice does this spinning fisherman's neck breaker, blah 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 blah. And 1, 2, 3. Candice leaves. Nikki takes off her superhero mask and looks very upset. And the announcers sounded very concerned for the mental health and condition of Nikki A.S.H. till they went, oh, never mind. Logan Paul is going to fight Roman Reigns in Saudi Arabia. They went through all of that, daddy. And then an Irish guy talks to Judgment Day, and he goes, I'm Irish. And Finn Balor, who's part of Judgment Day, says, we've been through this already. And then Solo Sikoa, the nephew or cousin, nephew of Roman Reigns, I don't know. No, he's the younger brother of the Usos, so he'd still be the cousin. Sami Zayn is wrestling, and Solo Sikoa is accompanying him. Say that again. Sami Zayn, people are falling in love with what he's doing on SmackDown, being an honorary Us, if you will. I know we don't cover that. It might sound foreign to some, what I'm talking about, but I barely watch it myself. But people are reacting very strongly to Sami Zayn, and Sami Zayn is wrestling AJ Styles. And this match is going very well again. And once again, tons and tons of fun stuff. Oh, you know what I forgot to mention? I'll just tell you, it goes faster that way. Bianca Belair and Io started with the babyface giving a drop kick to the heel right away. And Mysterio and Seth started with the babyface giving a dropkick to the heel right away. That's what I wanted to say. And I think those matches were back to back, or at least on the Hulu edition. They were with not enough commercial interruption. But they were still very close, even if there was something between them in regular broadcast. Both started with the ring the bell, babyface, dropkicks, heel. Just wanted to make that point. Okay? Okay, I made that point. Yeah, AJ's beating up Sammy pretty good. It's not quite back and forth. It's mostly AJ being dominant, which it should be, being as how Zayn is portrayed. But Zayn is getting some stuff in, of course. You can't make him look totally incompetent. And Zayn even fights. He's about to tap to the calf crusher. And he fights and he guts it out. And he reaches that bottom rope, and people were applauding him. But AJ Styles, unfortunately, rolled out too close to Solo Sikoa. And Solo gave him a rock bottom on the ring apron, which is the hardest part of the ring. And then Zayn set up the haluva kick and got the 1-2-3 on AJ Styles. Little disappointment here. When Zayn is in the corner and he's setting up AJ Styles for the kick in the opposite corner, Zayn did not do the Roman Reigns. I really thought he was going to do the ooh ah the thing that Roman does and then do his own move. I honestly thought he would because it made beautiful sense, and he didn't, and I was a little perplexed. I hope they do that and they're saving it, but I don't know. Who do I got to talk to? What happens? John Cena has made 650 Make-A-Wish visits. How about that? Very impressive, and really nice to see some feel-good stuff on a show. So hats off to John Cena, and with some of his recent haircut, maybe leave the hat on. Okay, Bob, stop it. The main event is Matt Riddle versus Damian Priest. I didn't hate this match, but this match was more for me than it was for the live crowd because they were not into it. They'd seen a lot. They'd seen these same characters, wrestlers already. They'd just seen too much, I think. And even though the match had some length to it, in a way it felt like Riddle and Damian wrestled a very small match. And what I mean by that is, like, they were very confined to the middle of the ring, like a lot. And didn't wrestle a main event style match. They were doing all these subtle little switches and reversals and everything early on, and that stuff's great. But a main event match has those, your punches and your clotheslines and your slams and then your spots and this and the other thing. So it was a little odd. It wasn't bad, but it was... I wasn't quite feeling it, but I was also waiting for the goddamn show to end. Holy shit, speaking of shows that need to end, let me wrap this up here. They have a match. Obviously, Judgment Day is around. And, oh shit, I gotta backtrack. Goddamn, I'm sorry. After AJ lost to Zayn, and this is what I'm talking about with Triple H bleeding the universe, the Judgment Day attacks AJ, and they act like they're gonna stomp his head through a chair, but Finn Balor stops last minute and says, "We're friends, you should reconsider, I'm Irish, yada yada yada." Okay. Riddle and Priest have their match. Priest does pin him 1-2-3. I like how they did it. Riddle didn't beat him with a finish. There was a little trouble. There's a little bit of timing issue with Damian Priest, if you squint. Damian Priest picking up Riddle in kind of like a torch rack position, and Riddle doing a roll, and I think a spladle was the name of the maneuver that Jimmy Smith called. I like that he's allowed to call some wrestling maneuvers, for fuck's sake. He called that perverted Peruvian necktie thing earlier. But anyway, so Riddle rolls him up 1-2-3, but they have to keep it depressing. And they beat down Riddle, and Damian hits his finish on Riddle. And the announcers, and the story of this match is that Damian and Riddle, as we all know, are friends. Really good friends who do things together. A lot of things they do together. And even though they do those things together, LOL, regardless of who else may be joining them or may not be joining them, usually joining them. Okay. Priest regretfully has to join in beating down Riddle. And we thought the show was over, but Edge returns because they're in Canada. And if you go to Canada 3 times, Edge appears. It's like Beetlejuice. So Edge ducks Priest's clothesline. I think he ducks Finn's clothesline and gives the spear to Priest. Rhea powders out. Dominic powders out. I'll get to that in a second. And then Finn takes the spear, I think, and the bad guys all kind of walk off the ramp slowly, and Edge stays in the ring behind the invisible walls. And even though there's 4 of them, they don't continue going after them. They just stand there making angry faces. Notice that they didn't let anyone touch Dominic. That's the heat right there, is who can eventually get to Dominic. I mean, ideally, Ray should be the first one to get to Dominic. No one should be able to really kick Dominic's ass significantly until whatever show, if they're going to Mania with this thing, I don't know. That seems to be the scuttlebutt on the internet, but who the hell knows? I think that's a bit much, personally. And I still think that Ray versus Rhea is the match we all want to see. But I don't know if that'll happen. Those are all my notes. We go off the air. So, and that sets up Edge versus Finn Balor at this Extreme Rules show, whenever it is, in an I Quit match. Okay, I don't know how they're working that, but this show did focus on 3 matches for Extreme Rules, whenever it is. Your ladder match with Bayley Bianca, your I Quit match with Edge and Finn, and Seth and Riddle in a fight pit match, which is like a big cage type of thing with a few modifications, whatever. So that's interesting. They set up 3 big matches. They set up Seth and Riddle last week, but it was a bigger follow-up. So they really reminded you what matches you're going to see whenever this show is. That was very good. I appreciated that. That they're... Overall, I think all positive improvements with Triple H. It's a lot better. It's going to take time for other people to catch on. And Triple H is a subtlety guy, and changes are subtle, and the WWE audience has not been programmed to be subtle or look for subtleties in a long, long time. One such subtlety, and this is going on, supposedly Bray Wyatt is returning. They've been playing the Jefferson Airplane White Rabbit song during commercial breaks, and then at a certain point near the end of it, they turn this red light on and everyone goes crazy. And they've even had intentional glitches, like I think during oddly enough, the Alexa Bliss and Bayley match last week. I think it went dark for like a second. The arena just went dark for like a second, like as if there was a lighting malfunction. I don't even know if that was on Hulu, because I didn't see it on Hulu. I just saw the clip on Twitter. And during somebody's entrance, they had a weird barcode just going across the screen. Or maybe it was during, I think it was actually during when Bayley and Kai and Sky were powdering out. And Alexa, again, oddly enough, was in the ring with smiling with Bayley and Asuka. So I think that's right. I hope that's when a barcode was. Maybe I'm wrong on that. But either way, so they're doing, and some other Twitter people have made some other little observations. There's this wacky thing in the back, or there's that weird barcode again, and so they're in the middle of someone else's thing, whatever. So that's that. So at some point, I mean, Extreme Rules I think would be a good enough, because they can't drag it out forever, because how long until they play White Rabbit during a break, and then people start booing because nothing's happening? Triple H is a slow burn guy, and I appreciate that. But let's look it up right now. We're going to look up when Extreme Rules is right now. I'm going to Google it. I'm going to Google WWE Extreme Rules match card. When is this stupid? That's the card. I just want a date. How hard is it to get a date for a show? When is this stupid show? Hang on. Jeez, guys. October 8th, which is a Saturday? It's got to be, because I'm in Del Mar on the 7th. Unless October, no, yeah, Crown Jewels in November. Yeah, it's a Saturday. That's cool. I like the Saturdays better than the Sundays, honestly. I think the Saturdays kind of take the piss out of me. I have no more piss. I would like to keep the piss in me unless I have to urinate. I urinate out of my penis like a man. That's how men urinate in America. That's how we do it. My father was a dick pisser. His father before him was a dick pisser. Both my grandfathers urinated out of their penises while fighting Nazis in World War II. Alright? I don't know if it was literally at the same time, like, hold on, buddy. Okay, now let's fight. I don't know if it was literally, but that's just pretty much how we did it back in the day. We can't urinate at our penises anymore because of the snowflakes with the precipitation trophies, and none of that made any sense. Bob Squad, I thank you so much for joining me, but I want you to do me a favor. If you're going over the top rope, you want your left hand in a supine position. You pronate your right hand. You grab that supine left hand with the red top rope. It used to, well, when we had red, white, and blue ropes, just the top rope now. And with your right arm, what's going to carry over, you reach for the ring apron before landing on your feet. And if you didn't know, the ring apron that you're reaching for with your pronated right hand, it's the hardest part of the ring. Hey, the hardest part of the ring. Ba-da-ba-da.